What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your host here, Dano, in the building to give you guys some tips, tricks, and strategies in order to help us achieve our best version of ourselves and to make sure that we're achieving happiness every single day, because it is possible. I know it may sound cliche, but I promise you guys, if you give me an hour or if you give me 10 minutes, you're going to stay for the hour just to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to live the life that we deserve. So like, share, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations, because now it's time for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Let's get it, everybody. Let's go.
Takes a village about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
Through the valley of the shadow of finale, I will never feel no fear. First the reaper gotta catch me. I don't care who got the next crown. I'm the true and living right now. Thought you lived to see my last breath? Go ahead and put your best down. Run with the wolves and we unify. Hungry enough to eat you alive. We never breaking formation. I live and die for this crew of mine. Been to the bottom, dehumanized. Found my divinity through the fire. Pushed through it all and I stood tall. That's cause a legend can never die.
Like I said, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, where we're going to be talking about two things in particular for today. We're going to be talking about the power of teamwork and why it's important, and maybe why some people don't like working in teams, because I know we've all been there, whether it's like a school project or maybe a meeting or a project that you got to work on together with somebody at work. There's a bunch of reasons why we may not like teamwork, but it's ultimately important, and we're going to dive deep into that. And we're also going to talk about success and why success is very important too, and maybe if we have some unconscious fears about success. And we're going to be talking about a lot for today, but I'm just so happy to be here with you guys, the Positivity Posse. If you're a new member, if you're OG member, welcome, because you already know Thursdays, there's nowhere else that I would rather want to be than here with you guys with the Positivity Posse. Make sure that wherever you're watching from, if you're watching from the United States, if you're watching from England, or wherever it may be, and even if you're watching on replay, if you're watching live, drop a hashtag Positivity Posse so I know you guys are rocking with me and enjoying all of this great content that we have to cover for today. So you already know the stuff that we throw out here is never empty content. You're always going to leave with something that you could take, maybe a golden nugget or a laugh, or a positive experience is what we're all about here on Weekly Dose of Dano. Y'all already know what's going on. You already know what's good for today. My guy Shane, what's going on? Yo, nice to see you, Shane. We got Lou over here, hashtag Positivity Posse. Thank you, Lou. We got a lot of great things that we got to be talking about today. Dan the man, I love it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go is right. Speaking of that, I actually I got it programmed to soundboard because I know I have like different sounds that already come with the thing already linked into the soundboard. Like, I have the I don't know, the applause right here. This is the one that I use a lot, depending on what it is. But you just gave me an idea with the let's go. I think I'm gonna start using my own little sounds, catchphrases, so that whenever I hear something fire, I just play it, or something funny, I just play that. So thank you for the idea. Like I said, you guys are always here to inspire me, and I'm here just as much. I learn from just as much as you guys, as you probably learn from me as well. So thank you for that, Lou. I appreciate it. But before we get into today's topics, you already know what we got to do. We got to read the affirmations for happiness for today. And I know this book, I've been using it for a minute now. I think it's time for another book. Let me know what you guys think. If it's time to find some new stuff, or if you guys like the affirmations for happiness, maybe I might do affirmations for wealth, or maybe I might do affirmations for health. Who knows what it could be? But let me know what you guys think. And I love this book because you guys already know. Even when we had the older book for the first or the second season, which was this one, I was actually looking through this one the other day. That's why I have it on my desk, readily available. But the Life's Little Instruction books, every time we open up to these books, man, they always are exactly in alignment with what we're going to be talking about for today. And like I said, today's themes for today, we're going to be talking about success, and we're going to be talking about teamwork. So let's get right to it. All right, that one. All right, we're going to go with number 116 for today. And here it is, everybody. Number 116. My stream of well-being is infinite. There is a never-ending source of well-being that's always flowing to me and through me. Whenever I'm not well, it's simply because I've stepped out of my stream. I'm getting back into my flow and allowing it to take me to my joy. Wow, there's so much to talk about this one, why I love it. I mean, let me know what you guys really appreciate about this one, about, my stream of well-being is infinite. But the thing that really sticks out to me is this one, is that whenever I'm not feeling well, it's simply because I've stepped out of my stream. And I have a lot of friends, and it's not just me saying this, but I have a lot of friends that I've talked to where, they were in unhealthy relationships with a significant other. And through the process of being with that person, they have experienced physical, sickness, or, mental sickness. And it's just very interesting that that's coming up, because that's a real thing. Whatever you're not feeling in the right state of mind, your body will start to, reflect that image, or reflect that whatever's going on inside of you. Our outside world will start to reflect in that same image, and our body's no different, because that is what we use to communicate from the 3D world. But I just really think that it's so important to stay in that stream. Some people call it their stream of well-being. Some people call it their flow. Whatever you call it, being in the zone. Whatever it is that you call it, make sure that you're doing everything to stay inside of that zone, because that's when we will start to live life to the fullest. And I know a lot of people don't know maybe what their flow is. It can be found in so many different ways. Let's say, I know there have been boxers who talk about when they're inside of the ring, that time starts to slow down and they can counterpunch their opponent. Yes, I'm bringing that up because of the Ryan Garcia fight and Tank Davis. But, there's so many different ways that we can find our flow. I think finding flow is doing the things that we love to do, whether it's a hobby, whether it's, meditating. I really love to meditate. And I know that's when I find my flow, because I'm releasing all of the resistance and ignoring the outside world, and really figuring out and feeling what's going on the inside. Whatever it is that you do, please make sure you're finding your flow, because that's when you'll start to receive hunches, ideas, opportunities. People come to you. It can come in any kind of form or sign to let you know that, you're on the right path, or it might let you know that you need to switch or pivot, or that you need to go to a certain place to experience something to take you to that next level. So when you're inside of that flow, it's ultra important to stay in that flow and protect it by any means necessary. And I don't mean that as in a threat to anybody else, but, protecting that energy and making sure you're not letting other people take you out of your character, because that's so easy to do. And that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed, that it's not really the white brain thinking, but I know a lot of people say, wow, because you did this action, you're making me act this way. Like, if somebody's in a toxic relationship, they're like, oh, well, you're making me act crazy. No, nobody can really make you do anything that you don't want to do. And, when I say this, I'm excluding, physical violence as well, because that's a whole different story that we're really not going to get into. But, understand that when people make like a negative comment towards you, or they try to do something to sabotage you, everything that people say and do is a reflection of themselves. So when you understand that it has nothing to do with you from the beginning, you can just really focus on your flow or your stream, or, being in the zone, whatever you want to call it. And once you start to focus on that, life will start to become easier for you. And I know I've experienced it so many different times. I know my biggest example is always comes back to food. But I'll share this quick story with you, because it's not really, it's not anything too crazy, but you'll see what I mean by the story, because I do have some pretty amazing examples when it comes to being in flow. But here's a quick story for you guys. There's one night where I was going to the gym, and I was eating healthy. I was in the flow. The way that I was lifting the weights, my pump was fire. I was doing my PRs. Everything was great. And I had this hunch right down the street, because there's a Boston Market. And for some reason, or out of nowhere, I had the inspiration and hunch to say, hey, well, I kind of want to go to Boston Market. And in my head, I'm thinking, Boston Market? Like, number one, their food's good, but it's not my favorite place to go. And I think they were like barely closing anyway. They were about to close at that time. But I was like, you know what? Let me follow this intuition. Hopefully this isn't my fat boy side of me talking to really just kill all the gains that I got, which, Boston Market isn't too bad, because they got the grilled chicken, or they got the rotisserie chicken in the side, all that good stuff. But what happens is, I'm like, all right, I get out of the steam room or the sauna, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to follow this intuition. And so I go to the store, and I go in, I open the door, and I go in, I walk in, and I see the lady at the counter, and she goes, oh, how did you get in here? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, the door was open. She was like, oh, well, that was supposed to be closed 10 minutes ago, and like giving me attitude. But I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to let her take me out of my character. So we're talking, and, I'm making jokes and, making the cashier laugh. It wasn't that. It was the guy that was the cashier. But like I said, I was cracking jokes, making him laugh, going back and forth. And at the end of it, he goes, yeah, well, the door was supposed to be closed, but you know what? I'm going to give you free food. Like, don't even worry about it. Just take it and go. And I was really happy about that, because number one, I could have been like, well, I don't really feel like going there. I could have, went to anywhere else and not followed what I said I wanted to do. But because I listened to myself, I got free food out of it. And if you guys know me, I'm like the biggest fat ass. Like, I love food. So if I get free food, that's a big win for me. So it's like, and that's just a really small example, but the point still stands. Do whatever you got to do to stay in your stream, in your flow, or being in the zone, because you never know what great things might transpire from being at that point where you need to be. So that's just my little quick story. And if you guys have any examples too of great things that have happened from being in the flow, please let me know. Because like I said, this isn't just you sitting here watching and a passive experience. No, I need you guys to comment, and I need to hear about your stories too, because this is just as much about you guys, just as it is about me. And I really love to hear it, because like I said, I learn every single week stuff from you guys in the Positivity Posse, and I'm just so grateful for you guys. So here it is. Wow, see, that's why I should have had the cap on there. Look, well, Dano, the shirt is fire. I guess it was fire, right? Now it's ruined with water, but that's all right. Things happen. It's only water. It'll dry up anyway. Hi, beautiful soul. So thank you so much for the compliment. I really, really appreciate it. I'm just going to say that, it's the technology that's making my shirt do that, because I needed, something to drink. So now it's really time to dive into the great things that we got to talk about today, which is going to be talking about success, and we're going to be talking about teamwork. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I don't know if you guys ever seen that show growing up. Fire show, highly recommend it. Even though it is a cartoon, super funny, and thank you for the compliment. So like I said, we're going to be talking about teamwork and why some people may be afraid to work in the teams together, because I know, like, even just hearing the word teamwork, you're probably thinking about, a bad experience that you may have. I know a big thing, I've experienced it too, where, I've had projects back in high school or even in college where I was supposed to work with a group, and you end up doing 99% of the work, and the other guys are sitting there, other girls sitting there just trying to ride on your coattails and make sure that, they get all the credit. So teamwork is not always a bad thing. We got to think about all the good examples that there are in this world as well. I mean, we really can't do everything on our own. Think about, Amazon, right? Or Facebook, or all of the biggest corporations and organizations. The reason that they have so much success is because they decided to work in a team together. I can't really think of anybody who's done like something worthwhile all on their own. Like even Michael Jordan won championships, not by himself, but because he had a team around him that, knows how to work together and how to play his role in the best way possible is the best way I can put it for you guys. What's going on, Nancy? So nice for you to see nice to see you here. Thank you for dropping a hashtag positivity posse. And I love the hearts. I can just feel the love through the screen right now. So teamwork is really, really important. Like I said, I'm going to take another sip of water because I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys' allergies been as bad as mine, but it's been really freaking bad. So like I said, cheers to you guys. I got to take another quick sip. All right. So let's talk about some of the reasons why people really may not be a fan of teamwork, right? So number one, I think we all didn't know this. People can be snakes. And I'm not saying that in a negative connotation, like to, like shit on anybody or to say anything bad about everybody, but everybody that you meet isn't gonna be the best person or gonna mimic your beliefs and your values and everything that you feel or everything that you think. So with people being snakes, I'll counter that with this. If that's the story that you're telling yourself on why you're afraid to work in a team, that's the story that's going to play out in real life. So if you think that people are snakes or that everybody's out to get you or everything that you do, they're going to take credit for it, that's what's going to happen into your existence because you're calling that to happen. So it's no wonder why it will happen. A lot of people do that. They said, oh, see, I called that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Well, the reason that it happened is because you said it was going to happen. There's no coincidence. There's no mystery there. But like I said, always just make sure that whatever story that you are telling yourself, like, just say that this person is going to work with me cooperatively. They're going to work just as hard as I am. They're going to contribute just as much as I am. There's so many different ways to spin that, which is very, very important. And like I said, we've all had those experiences, but don't let like negative experiences or bad experiences hinder you from like striving in this world. Because number one, just for as many bad experiences that we have, many positive and other blessings that have come into our life. And number two, we do need to experience those things to see what it is that we do want, right? I know Abraham Hicks talks about that, and she calls it contrast. But if we don't experience what a snake is, how do we know somebody that's truly loyal, right? So all of these experiences, don't let them hinder you from working together as a team. And I know even right here with Weekly Dose of Dano, like I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. If you guys weren't constantly tuning in and leaving your reactions and leaving your comments, I would just be here sitting at a camera screen and just talking to myself in my room, and nothing will really get done or accomplished. But I know every single week that we come on here and you come on here to learn and share your experiences, that we're building for something better that we could even, for anything that we could even hope to dream of, right? Because when we come in here together, we're always, rubbing off on each other and throwing in our collective positive energy with everybody. And in turn, we're, making the world a better place. And hopefully, like I said, we're not just doing this for this hour, that we actually go out there, inspire other people. Because think about it, if we are the examples for ourselves with the Positivity Posse and myself, if we lead by example, or when we lead by example, I should rather say, other people will see that, they will get inspired, and they'll look at you and they say, Nancy or Lou or Jeanette, what are you guys doing that you're achieving all of this success? and you're going to be able to provide for these people and give more to them. And the more that you give, the more that we can receive with blessings, or whether that be monetary or good health or good people. And like I said, the more you give, the more you can receive, and the more you receive, the more you can give. So it's a great, perfect circle. And like I said, just make sure that you're telling yourself that it is a positive experience and that this person will work with me and they will contribute just as much as I will, because it's not always a bad thing either. Just in case like you've had that experience. Skinnier, am I losing weight? No, I actually need to get my butt into the gym, but thank you, I appreciate it. Maybe that's just me being too hard on myself, but yeah, I know I need to get back to the gym, because I actually, see, and that's, I want to bring this up. This is a great example, because I just did it to myself. Even though I may not have been in the gym as much as I like, I've actually been doing a lot of cardio, and I've been playing a lot of basketball because I'm in the league, if you guys didn't know. But yes, I guess I must be having, just because I'm not doing one thing doesn't mean that I'm not staying like completely inactive. But that's just a little thing for you that I want you guys to take with you too. Like, just because you might not be doing nothing doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing, or it's just because, like I said, for me, I know I haven't been in the gym, but I've been doing other things to supplement that. So it's not always a bad thing, is my point. So thank you. I appreciate it. There are no coincidences. We attract what we think about, whether we want it or not, 100%. Drop some hearts on this fire content. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And look, see, that's what I'm talking about. It does take a village, 1,000%. Absolutely, cardio will always burn calories. I agree, 1,000%. So that's the number one thing. Just because people may be snakes, and we got to change the story, what we tell ourselves, to see what is going to manifest in your life. And number two, I think a big reason why people don't like working in teams might be the self-confidence factor, right? I know if you have somebody that's shy or timid, when it comes to releasing these ideas, you're speaking up for yourself, a lot of people may not have the skills. And I will say a lot of people, because I think a lot of people that have me tend to be shy because they don't want to be wrong. And there's nothing wrong with, saying your answer and saying your truth and contributing. Stop being so worried about being a perfectionist, I feel like a lot of people don't decide to go on their dreams or work as a team or speak up just because they might be wrong. So what if you're wrong? If you're wrong and you don't speak up on the situation, then you're never going to get a chance to be corrected, right? If you think that you know everything and you don't participate and you don't share, how are you supposed to get the right answer? Because you'll live the rest of that answer, or the rest of your life, thinking that the answer that you did have right was actually wrong. And it's really a way to build on your self-confidence. So like I said, that might be perceived one way, self-confidence, when it comes to teamwork, but I'm going to give you guys my solution. I'm going to spin, right? And the reason, because I said like that, and here's the other thing. So I'm going to give you my solution. You have to look at teamwork as a way of building your social skills, or maybe your self-confidence skills, right? You have to believe that whatever you're bringing to the table is the right thing at the right time, and that you are expressing yourself, right? Use all of these examples as different types of ways to refine your social skills. Teamwork is a great tool because you can learn from somebody that you want to learn from, right? If you have somebody that you're working with that maybe they're number one in their sales department, or they always seem to get that girl, right? Or their significant other, or, whatever it is that, the material items too. If you work in a team and you start to have that self-confidence and that curiosity to say, hey, well, what is this person doing? And you're using it as a way to better yourself, that is another way that you can combat the self-confidence portion and to really make sure that you can take that one piece of the teamwork and apply it to everything else in your life as well. And I think that's a big, big piece on why it's so important to treat everything in the same route, right? In the same capacity. And I'll explain that to you. There's a phrase that goes, whatever we do in small things, we do in all things. So if we're taking this small area of our life with teamwork and we apply that to every area of our life to say, okay, well, you have higher self-confidence, or, you're telling yourself the positive stories that it will play out that way, then every facet and every area of your life we'll start to go on the up and up, and it will be the things, and you'll start to live the things, we'll start to live the way that we want to live in this world. And it's not rocket science. It's not hard. I just think that we've been programmed to live a certain way, whether it's, from our family members or media or whatever it may have come from. But we can start to combat it to really make sure that the life that we are living is the life that we want to live, and we're achieving that happiness. And I know when it comes to social media, I've seen it so many times where they say, mental illness is one thing, and they'll take like the extreme examples and use that for their everyday life, or they'll say that they have depression or all this other stuff. And it's like, dude, like, well, what is there to be depressed about, or why are you just so focused on having this negative mindset? Is it because it's a victim mindset? I mean, I don't know. If that's what you want to do and that's how you want to live, that's fine. But like I said, we're here. The Positivity Posse is here to shine these golden nuggets. And like I said, if there's other things that you guys have experienced with teamwork and why it's worked out for you, maybe something it hasn't worked out for you with, let me know in the comments as well, because I really want to hear about your ideas and examples as well. But it's all really important. And like I said, that's really the main gist of it. Just because we're talking about teamwork and success for today doesn't mean that you can't apply these same principles to every other, facet in our lives or every other area in our lives. So teamwork is so important, and we're going to be getting into the good stuff now and the positive examples, because I know that's what we talk about here. We always talk about the positive examples and the plus side of everything. So I want to leave you guys with this, and it's not leaving you with as a final note, but listen to me when I say this. Anything that's worthwhile to build, you will start to experience a greater amount of resistance, or maybe reasons why we shouldn't do it, or you'll start to convince yourself and talk yourself out of doing the things that you know that you need to do. And I've experienced this too. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to send that email because, it's so many days later, or I'm not going to text that person back because it's so many days later, they're not going to like my answer, whatever it is. All of these fears, I want you to know that whatever artistic or whatever dream that you do have, you will start to experience resistance, right? And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because we need to be aware of these things in order to achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve. If you want to have the biggest business in America or the biggest business in the world, if you want to obtain that financial freedom to make sure you're living out, whatever dream it is that you want, it is possible. And we need to look at why things do succeed and why things will start to transpire in the way that we want. I just want to read a few comments first. Exactly. You won't know until you try and experience for yourself, and maybe you'll like it 1,000%. Anything worthwhile needs you to be focused. Go after what you want. We are the creators of our own reality. 1,000%. You hit the nail right on the head with this one, Jeanette. A lot of people don't know that we are the creators of our own reality. And you know what? I'm going to talk about that right now, because I had that listed later on in the episode. But let's talk about that right now. I think when it comes to building something, working as a team and building something worthwhile and achieving that success, I think a lot of people are scared of success. And we're going to be transitioning into the success portion of everything. But when it comes to success, I feel like a lot of people are scared to understand that we are the creators of our own reality. Because think about how much accountability that takes, right? If you know that everything that you've ever done has been a result of yourself and nobody else has really sabotaged you, that's a pretty scary statement if you think about it, if you think about it from that perspective. Or that can be a very empowering and confidence boosting way of looking at it, because you know that whatever it is that you do, you are the only thing that's stopping you, or you are the only thing that's giving you that success. However you look at it, wherever you are in your life too. I mean, we're speaking to both sides of the coin here. For the people who maybe, need to do something, or they want to get through whatever troubles that they're going through, you are the only person that's going to help you, and you're the only person that's going to save you. Nobody's going to come with a magic wand or $1 million and say, hey, they're not going to knock on your door and say, hey, I just had a hunch to come to this door, and, I'm here to save you. No, that's not going to happen. But for the people that are doing great things in their life and they're on the right path, congratulations to you, because I think you understand that you are the creator of our own reality. So when it comes to success, you have to understand that you are the creator of your reality. Even though that's a big even though that's a big concept to understand, please understand it and make sure that you're doing everything that you can right now to make sure that you're achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I know I sound like a broken record saying that. I've said that countless times just in this episode alone, but it's really important, because how are you expected to live out your dreams and your aspirations if you don't take the steps? I mean, what do they say? That faith requires action. Because yes, you can have the immense amount of faith in the world, but it's not going to happen magically. And I know so many, not to put anybody down, but I know of so many people that, are religious, that they go to church like every day and they have that faith component, which is absolutely amazing, but they're not living the life that they want to live because they're not taking the action that's required to go along with it. And I know there's some people in this world who say, I've heard it countless times, where in order to achieve the success, you don't have to lift a finger. That's something that I've been trying to, get myself to believe, because, like I said, I'm going to talk about that comment in a second. But I feel like that's something that I've been, convincing myself to believe and really incorporating it into my mind, into my world, because that's a great thing. But I just really haven't had that experience. I think that all of the great things that have come into my life is a result of some action that I've taken. Now, whether it's inspired action or, you don't really know. I think inspired action is so important. I'm so glad that you threw that in there, inspired action, because you could even make the case that let's just say we were to use my example, right? About just action, faith requires action. Well, if that were the case, then you can make the claim that construction workers and doctors and nurses and lawyers, the people who work 60 plus hours and 80 plus hours a week, there should be the people that are, the wealthiest in America, the wealthiest in the world. No, that's not true. Just because you're doing an action doesn't really make it worthwhile. Like, I know people who say, oh, well, they have 3 jobs, or, they go to the gym, 7 days a week, whatever the case may be. All of this stuff is arbitrary. And if you're doing something just to feel, all right, so if you're taking an action just because, you're scared of what's happening, or you're scared of that lack of action, it's not going to really get you anywhere. And you're just going to be going around in the same circle over and over. So I thank you so much, Jeanette, for making this distinction about the inspired action, because yes, you need to have that inspired action, and inspired action can come from really anywhere. Some people say that inspiration comes from source. Some people call it God, some people call it source, some people call it Allah, whatever it is that you call it, just make sure that you have that awareness. And whenever you get a hunch, or you just do it right then and there. That's one of the things that I've been working on for myself is learning how to, stop pushing everything off for tomorrow and just doing it right then and there. Because number one, when we get this idea or action, whether it's maybe even just a phone call, right? If you're like, well, I should really call this person. You never know what opportunity that might lead to. And when it comes to living in that inspired action, you're queued up for it. So whatever idea or hunch or whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you're queued up to say, okay, you have the fast track to achieve anything it is that you want to achieve, but you have to come and you have to actually take, those actions. So I'm just gonna play a quick commercial break because we are halfway through. Don't go anywhere. Like, comment, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. you, E360, for sponsoring this episode. And like I said, we're going to get right back to it with why it's so important to find success and, maybe uncovering some of the subconscious blocks that we might have from success, or, even conscious blocks is just a different way of thinking about, everything that we need to accomplish in our life. So let's talk about number one. When it comes to teamwork and success, they go hand in hand because, like I said before, think about all the great organizations and corporations that have been really successful in this world. Jeff Bezos didn't do it by himself. And like I said before, Michael Jordan didn't do it by himself. We have to understand that, and I'm going to actually bring this example up too. Not saying that I'm endorsing it or anything, but even like Hitler, right? His rise to fame, he didn't do everything that he did by himself. He had an idea and a passion, and he just decided to go for it. And he needed a team in order to do all of the, bad and negative things that he did. If he can find a team of people to support him with all of that, nastiness and bad things that he did, there is a tribe of people out there that are waiting to find you and to help you achieve everything it is that you want to achieve, right? Your best workers, when you do start your business, are out there waiting to work for you. Your significant other throughout your process of building and trying to, build your life, you see significant other may be in that spot where they're leading you on the right path. And that's when you will find them, only when you do have that confidence to take that path. Like I said, there's so many different things that you need to talk about, or that we can talk about, to say, okay, well, this is why we need to actually accomplish and have the faith to do everything that we want to do. I want to talk about this right here. Thought, hunch, a person coming to your mind, an idea, acknowledge those, and those people follow through at that point. You're being given information, go for it. You won't be disappointed. And I don't know if you're channeling right now or what you're doing, but 1,000%, I couldn't have said that better myself. These are different, but this is basically why it's so important to stop putting things off for tomorrow and to do it right then and there. And that's been one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning for myself, is stop postponing everything and stop saying you'll do it tomorrow. Right now is the best time to do everything that we need to do, right? Because number one, we're the youngest that we're going to be. Number two, we have the most amount of energy that we're going to have in this moment in time. And number two, if you just keep pushing that goalpost on yourself, you'll start to come up with more reasons and more excuses as to why you should not do it. And I'm going to correlate this to, maybe a silly example, but it's so true. When it comes to, I know my guys out there can understand this. When it comes to, if you're at the bar, you're at a place where you want to talk to a female, just do it right then and there. Because I know that the more that you hesitate on taking that action, the longer that you're going to do to talk yourself out of whatever it is that's going on, right? Because I know I've done it before where I'm like, all right, well, let me just wait a little bit to see what she's going to do, or X, Y, Z, or there'll be a guy that's around her. You'd be like, oh, well, that's her man, or, there's just so many excuses, and that's all it is. It's all excuses, because we need to really just understand, like you just said, Jeanette, you're being queued up. You're giving that information for a reason. You never know what that information is going to lead to. So just act on it. Just do it. Stop pushing it off for tomorrow, or at a later point when you could just do it right now. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. That's absolutely amazing. Absolutely true. You're dropping them golden nuggets right here by saying that. Positivity Posse, let's go is right. Always follow your intuition 1,000%. And yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about, why success is very important and some of the reasons why we may be scared to succeed. Because I know that was a thing when I first heard that. I was like, what are you talking about? Scared of success, or, what does that even mean? Well, a lot of people think that when it comes to success, it's the amount of money that they want to make, or the people that they want to attract into their lives, or the opportunities that they're getting. It's not always as easy as it sounds, right? So let's talk about, some fears of success and how we can kind of combat them. So one of the fears of success, like I said before, but if you're just tuning in, is the fear of accountability, right? If you understand the fact that everything that you do and say and everything that has happened to you is your own doing, and that you attracted it because you created it, that's a big, powerful way to think. And I think once we kind of come to terms with that, we can kind of get scared because you're like, okay, well, I know I don't want to attract the things that I don't want to attract. And if we don't really take the steps to really craft and hone our minds, it can be a bad path, right? Because if you're so worried about the things that you don't want to attract in your life, the dominant vibration right there is worry and fear. And that's the things that will start to happen to your life. So it's really important to understand that, you got to cultivate our minds, and we got to take the steps every single day to make sure that we're practicing the good habits and the good ideas that we know we can achieve, right? Whether it's reading a book. I know reading a book for me, when it comes to personal development, that's really the wave that I'm on right now. Whereas, like I said, I told you guys before, I'm reading, Mindset, The Psychology of Success by, Carol Dweck. There's another book that I recently started. I think I saw it on Joe Rogan's podcast, and this book is absolutely fire. It's called The War of Art. Not the art of war. It's called The War of Art. And it's so important because it just really talks about, the factors of resistance, why we might experience resistance, like I said, all those things. But my point is this: make sure that you're taking the steps every single day and you're not letting time go by. You're not practicing the bad habits, because once you're aware and once you're awake to all of these great ideas, there's no going back. And I know that can be a little intimidating, but that should be also, like I said, flip it. That's very empowering to know that you're the captain of your ship, and wherever you steer is where it's going to go. No matter what it is, it can be jobs, it can be people, experiences, information, all of that good stuff. Just practice. Don't be scared of owning up to the fact that we have created everything in our lives and we are the captains of our ship. Don't be scared of that. Embrace it, embrace it, embrace it. All right. Number 2. Actually, let's talk about your comments, guys. Without failure, there is no success. 1,000%. And I want to actually refine this a little bit, because I saw this debate before too, where they say, like you said, there's no failure without success. But I want to clarify that to say you don't have to always fail in order to achieve success either, because you don't have to always experience a pain, a sorrow, a negative experience to receive a positive experience. I agree with you. Failure is definitely a key to success and a component, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't need to happen every single time. Just think about it. You don't have to experience 80,000 bad relationships to experience one good one, right? You can experience 80,000 great experiences and great relationships without ever having to go through a negative experience. So I do agree with you. I just wanted to make that nuance, that point a little bit more, precise. And like I said, it's just my opinion on it. Everybody has their own opinions, but like I said, I'm so glad that you guys are coming on, sharing your ideas and experiences and your golden nuggets too, because you guys always teach me something. Here it is. Sebastian says, my guy, let me give him a round of applause, man. I know he's doing great things, and he is battling through some things, and I just wanted to commend you for all of the things that you have pushed through, and that's my guy right there. So it's the destination and how you work through it all with peace and positivity, 1,000%, because I don't know how you can ever try to fight, negative with more negativity, right? That's not the way to go about it, because 1 + 1 = 2. So if you fight negativity with negativity, you're just going to get more negativity. So I'm so glad that you really emphasized that point of peace and positivity. Thank you so much for bringing that up as well. Action on it, just do it. We're always led from an inner guidance to what our goals and dreams what we desire. We have to put ourselves in the receiving mode. Stop, quiet your mind, and listen to those answers. This can be achieved through meditation. And I want to talk about this too, because meditation is not always, well, let me stop right there. Meditation, yes, I agree with you 1,000%. I receive all of my answers and my hunches, not all of them, but a big amount of them through meditation. But understand, if you're just starting out with meditation, the reason you're meditating is not to experience or get answers, because I know for me, it doesn't happen every single time. And for the people that I know that do meditate, it doesn't happen for them every single time. What you're doing is you're really stopping the resistance that's happening into your life. You're pausing, disconnecting from what's going on in the outside world, feeling the great feelings that's going on in the inside world, And if an answer comes through, that's great. If you get an idea or a hunch or an opportunity or a good feeling, that's awesome. But you're not always doing it for the answers. You're doing it to stop the resistance and to give yourself a mental reset to make sure that you're on the right path as well, and to be in that flow as well. So I just wanted to make that, like I said, the little nuance, and that's just my opinion too. If you guys don't like it, well, hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that's why it's very, very great. That's why I love to hear about you guys and everything that you got going on and everything, man. I love it. So we stop ourselves from moving on the step. We decide our futures. There are no failures. They're called lessons. Like we always say, everything's a lesson or a blessing. So speaking of moving on to the next step, we're going to move on to the next reason why people might be fearful of success. And the second reason, I don't know if I actually have this written down. Oh, yeah, here it is. Wait, no, I don't have it. All right, so here it is. The next reason why people might fear success is the backlash of other people. And I know when it comes to crabs in a barrel syndrome, if you're the person to get out of that barrel, you're going to have all of these other people coming at you all crazy. And you hear it time and time again where they say, oh, you've changed, or you're not the same person that you used to be, or you're a snake, or you're fake now because you achieved that success. Don't ever feel bad about achieving anything it is that you want to achieve, because you know that you've put in the hard work. Nobody else is going to be in your shoes, and nobody else has seen the work that you've done in order to get to the place where you want to be. Never ever feel guilty or sorry about that, because that's all nonsense, and that you're feeding into other people. We shouldn't live by anybody else's standards besides ourselves, right? And never really compare it to, but don't be afraid of what people are going to say. I know a lot of people are scared of what other people are going to say in the backlash. I mean, the best way that I can phrase that to you guys is this, and you guys are going to love this one. Even Jesus had haters, right? And Jesus did everything right. If you believe in him or not, that's not the point. He did everything right, and he did everything in his best power, and people still killed him and they crucified him. So people are going to say what they're going to say no matter what. If you're solving world hunger, if you're freaking finding the cure for cancer, it doesn't really matter. People are going to find something negative to say about you. So if they're going to say something anyway, then just do what you're going to do and just follow the path that you're going to take in order to achieve your dreams, right? Well, why would you stop if somebody else is talking crap about you or all that? We don't even pay that any mind. We don't even feed into that noise. Just stop feeding into that. And I'm gonna, Lou, you know all about this actually. So I'm just going to talk about this real quick. You have to start streaming on Kick and Twitch. I really got to look into that because I got to add this to the different destinations. And I know I've been talking about that for a minute now, but that's just me, I guess, procrastinating or whatever it is. But you got my word that I'm going to fix that this week as well, giving advice to people. But one of the things about, being fear if successful is the backlash of other people, what I just told you about. But I'm going to give you guys a real silly example that I experienced literally today. So earlier I had some free time and some downtime, and I went on Xbox and I was playing Xbox. And I was playing poker. So it's called Providence Poker, where, you can win. It's not real money, but, they got the virtual currency in the game, right? So I was playing earlier. I was on a hot streak. I was winning a lot of money. And nobody was saying anything. Everybody was just playing or whatever. So eventually when the game, it works in like spurts and waves. So it happened that I was on like a losing streak. And, things weren't going my way. And I was like, all right, well, I don't really care because, like I said, it's not real money. But, when I was winning, nobody was saying anything. And as soon as I started, so the buy-in was 20,000. As soon as I got to 19,000, I got a message from this guy on Xbox. And he was just laughing, saying, oh, well, that's what you get, XYZ, whatever. And it was just so funny because when you're succeeding and when you're doing everything right, people aren't going to say anything to you. They're going to say to your face, yo, congratulations. They might be snakes and really like root for you in secret, but on their inside, they probably want you to fail. But I just thought that was so funny because no matter what we do, we're always going to face backlash from the people. So don't ever stop doing whatever it is that you got to do. And people are always going to say something. And I said that like 3 or 4 times already, but don't worry about what people are going to say, because for every person that is going to say something negative, there is another person that's going to be very appreciative of what you say. And somebody might be needing that message and needing you to have that confidence and to, they might be dependent on whatever it is that you need to do and to bring into fruition for this world. So I just thought it was funny how people always got something to say. I don't know why my green screen's acting up like that with the shirt and everything. I guess the shirt is too fire and it's too nice that it's starting to act up. But yeah, so don't worry about people are going to say. Another fear of success. Actually, let's talk about this before we move on to the next reason why people might be afraid of success. Pause, meditate from the outside, resources of resistance. Yes, meditation. I know it says mediation, but I know what you meant. Meditation may not give you answers, but it will allow you to get you answers throughout the day because you allow yourself to quiet your mind 1,000%. Follow your own advice. Don't procrastinate. Yes, like I said, I got to look into that. Am I saying Xbox is instrumental? No, the reason that I brought that up is because, like I said, it's just so funny how when you're doing the right things, not everybody's going to say stuff to you and they'll watch from a distance or they won't like your social media post, but all of that stuff really doesn't matter. And even when it's funny how when you like get off the path for a little bit, or when things aren't really going your way, that's when people are going to try to come in and diminish, anything that you got going on. So don't listen to them anyway, is what I was trying to say. I was just giving you guys that example because it was funny. So number 3 is imposter syndrome, which if you don't know what imposter syndrome in relation as to why people fear success, it's because they think they're not supposed to be wherever they are, right? I know a big thing is success. If you make a lot of money, right, and, it only happened one time, or like you won the lottery and then you're in a room full of people who have done it, over and over again, or they feel as though they're supposed to be there. Imposter syndrome is you just basically saying, oh, well, I shouldn't be here. Like I got lucky, or, it just wasn't meant for me to be. And this is super distracting. I don't know why it's doing that. But like I said, that's what imposter syndrome is. You have to understand that the reason where you are right now is because you put in that effort and mental work to get to wherever you are, right? So if you're in a room full of multimillionaires, don't ever think that you're not supposed to be there. I mean, even if you snuck into the place, right? You're supposed to be there. Don't ever feel bad about that because you're right where you're meant to be. You are where you are, and that's okay, wherever it is that you are. So don't ever feel like just because you're finding success or, you're guilty of what other people are going to say, or just because all your friends might be broke or you got money, or, all of your friends are not finding success in whatever it is that you're doing, but you're the one that is finding success. Don't ever feel bad about that, because number one, how are you supposed to help your people that you want to help in this world if you don't have whatever it is that everybody wants, right? If you're with a group of friends and you're the only one who has money, I just use money because I think that's a big thing that people can relate to. So like I said, if you are the one with the millions, how are you supposed to teach your friends if you're broke, right? Broke people can't help broke people. Sick people can't help sick people. It's just not the way that it works. So understand that you are in that position. If you're finding success, you can teach your friends how to achieve that same success. And not everybody's going to be open or welcome and, open to receiving that advice or whatever it is, because people do hate on the low, and it's just what it is. And understand that even if you achieve that success and your friends are not really excited or happy for you, then you just cut them off and you're leaving room for the people that need to be into your life. You're giving them the opportunity and the space to be there. So it's all working out for you. It's all working in your favor. Just understand that don't ever feel like you're not supposed to be somewhere that you're supposed to be if you're experiencing the best things in this life. And you know what? I'm actually going to flip that as well. because I know I used to feel like that living where I used to live, right? Or, living in Canada, it's like, wow, there's so much things that are going wrong here. And it's like, I feel like I'm not even supposed to be here and I'm supposed to be somewhere else. Even with stuff like that, the reason that I'm here and I live in Camden is because there are things that I need to learn about myself in the city. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. I'm here for a reason. You where you are for a reason, whether it's to learn, whether it's to thrive, whether it's to succeed, whatever the reason may be. Once you understand that there is a purpose behind it for your experiences, you have that sense of peace and calm because you know that you're right where you need to be and you're not constantly looking about, I should be here, I should be there, I should be there. All of that stuff is noise and it's just tricking you to think that you're supposed to be somewhere else when now is the best time to be wherever it is that we need to be. So let me read some of your comments real quick. Damn, it's already 56. This episode went by mad quick. All right, so it says, it's what makes it out to be. It doesn't have to be monetary. Just getting to where you want to be in life one step at a time is a success, 1,000%. And I want to talk about success is everything that you've got through and that you've grown through and that you've defeated and that you achieved in your life, all of those are forms of success as well. So just because you don't have a certain monetary number or, a certain amount of women in your life or whatever it is that you define success to be, just because you aren't there right now doesn't mean that you're not going to get there. And look at all of the great things that you had to, accomplish and fight through to get to where you are to be at. And with success, I'm just going to leave you guys off with this note, is that you have fought through a lot, you have gone through a lot, and just the fact that we woke up today and you're listening to my voice and I'm sharing this moment with you right now. When we woke up this morning, that was the best success that we could ever ask for. So when you understand that even the gift of life that is so precious, or you have a roof over your head, or you have food to eat, or you have lights going on in your house, or you're able to watch this on your phone or on your computer, there is always something to be happy about and successful about. And when you find those reasons for happiness, you can understand that you're very successful right now, and you are only attracting more success when you focus on the great things that are going on in your life as well. So I just want to leave that off with you guys. We're going to look at some of the comments just to close out the show. Golden Nuggets, Dano, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, like I said, you guys have given me golden nuggets. I know, Nancy, you told me at the party one time where, that God has a purpose for everybody. And, you guys teach me just as much as I teach you. So I really love it. Thank you for being here and sharing an hour of your time. Nancy, with the great hearts. I love it. I love it. I love it. Great advice and advice, great content and advice, positive vibes all day, every day. You already know how we do here on the Weekly Dose of Dano TV show, man. There's nowhere else that I would rather want to be. And we have great things coming on for you guys. So we have a great lineup coming up for you next week, the week after that. I can't tell you who it is. You'll see it throughout the week. Like I said, if you don't follow me on social media, here it is, and you're going to see who's the guest is coming up through the week, any great things that I have going on. I love to share it with you guys. So give me a follow right here. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me, and we're going to go into this weekend with these positive vibes that we generated here on the Weekly Dose of Dano TV show. And I just want you guys to understand this thing too. Whatever great thing happens to you this weekend, whatever blessings that you do receive, just understand, since you're right here, right now, taking the time to feel these good feelings and investing into yourself and investing into the show, those great things that you experience in the weekend have been a result of you being here with me right now and throwing in these positive vibrations. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace.